Okay, let's go ahead and talk about where we stand right now with all of my courses in Bible college. Now, for those that don't know, I'm a pastor who's in my late 40s. I've been pastoring now for right around 15 years, somewhere around there. And I was a youth pastor for many years before then. And back in the 90s, I went to college and I left on basically right before my senior year. So I just got this wild idea to finish my undergrad and then hopefully begin my MDiv, my Master's of Divinity now. I mean, basically, so wrapping up the undergrad, and like I said, I'll be starting the MDiv. Hopefully, if all goes well, it should be next January. Okay, so that's coming up very, very soon. So I'm excited about that, and yeah, that's good stuff. But anyway, so where do we stand right now? Where are we at? Well, mostly very well. Now, I've discovered that I am a much better student now than I was in my teens and 20s. Okay. I was focused on the things that most people are focused on during that time. And you know what those things are. And it basically, kept me from, getting the grades that I wanted. And it wasn't, I didn't get bad grades. I got pretty good grades, but I didn't know how to study. I didn't know how to be disciplined. Well, now I have more going on in my life than ever before. And it's easier. It's easier than it's ever been. And it's because of discipline. And I will do another video about this another time about how I've been able to find the way to do this. But I give glory to God. The Lord has shown me how to make all of this work, and He's put the things in my life to make sure that it does work. So, but I'm balancing my small business. I'm balancing pastoring a church, and we are balancing a family, a wife and kids, and all of that stuff. And of course, it seems to be working out very well. So where do we stand right now? Well, I'm taking 4 classes right now, each 3 credit hours, and then I'm taking another intensive course next month. So that'll give me a total of 15 credit hours for the spring semester. And then I'll be registering this week either 1 or 2 classes over the summer. I'm going to try to do 2, but I'm at least doing 1, Lord willing. So where do we stand? Well, in 1 class, I'm doing the introduction to college and vocation. Now, basically, this class is for anyone. So I transferred a lot of credits over. Thankfully, they took those credits from the other colleges that I went to years ago. But anyone coming in new, whether you're a transfer student or you're a new student coming in as a freshman, they all have to take this class. And it's a good class. It's an easy A. It's pretty simple. I'm thankful for that. It kind of decreases the workload quite a bit. There's a short book that we're reading, and that the professor wrote with another professor there, and it's good. It works, and I think I've got 100 average in that class right now, here at our midterm. Then we have it's a cultural classics course, and it's what I like about this course is we're reading a lot. We're going over different books that are fiction, things like The Hobbit that I read many years ago and many times, but I reread it because of this course, because we're having to do quizzes on it and things like that. And the screw tape letters, we're reading several, probably about 4 or 5 books, several of them C.S. Lewis's books, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and there was another one by him, I can't remember what it was, but several of them. And it's good. And then in that class, we're also going over world religions, and which is also very, very good. So Hinduism, Buddhism, Catholicism. We're going over Mormonism and all of that. Islam, I think. I don't know if I said that or not, but several of these is what we're covering, and it's good. It's fun. I enjoy it, and I enjoy the discussion. That's the biggest thing about these courses, is the ability to have these conversations with other people. I always liked that, even whenever I was a student in person. I'm going online right now, but a lot of these courses are done either online that I'm taking right now, or Flex, which is basically where you are, it's like a Zoom call, basically, or Teams, something like that. And you're in the class with the class, and the teacher, the professor, will respond to you live right then and there, so you can ask questions and they'll interact, and they'll, we can do group projects and things like that, and I like that. I think it makes me feel like I'm right there in the class, and it's an enjoyable experience for me. I like to learn that way. So, and don't get me wrong, the standard internet courses are fine, but I like to interact. But anyway, so that course, I've got a high 90. I think I've got a 98 in that course right now. And then my psychology course, which is the one that I was the most concerned with, especially in the beginning, my goodness. I think at the end of this semester, I'll tell you really how I felt about it. But I was very concerned with that class, and I was concerned it wasn't going in a Christian realm, but but it was good. It's been good. And I've got also a 98 in that class as well right now. So I've been doing a lot of paper writing, a lot of, let's say I just took the midterm exam and I got a high 90 something on that. And so that one has been good. The one that I enjoy the most, and it has the most direct impact on my ministry and my degree and my prospects of making it into grad school, is the one that I'm doing the worst in right now. And it tears me up. Now, I have been doing very well, extremely well. I had a 99% average, 99 point something high. It was almost a perfect 100 average. So I did a lot of assignments, 100, 100, 100, 100. And then I did my before I did my midterm, I turned in, we have to do 3 major papers in this course: an Old Testament paper, a New Testament paper, and then at the end, you choose for our final paper, you have to choose one of those 2 and basically rewrite it and add a bunch more. So it's making that paper more robust, right? And so I did the New Testament paper. I didn't know what I was going to get on that bad boy. It was on a passage in 2 Corinthians, 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, one of the Corinthians letters. But it was a exegetical look at that particular passage. Well, I got a 99, and I was floored. The professor was giving me all kinds of praise. He was like, man, this is good writing. He just really, really liked it. And I've gotten that on several other papers in other courses. So anyway, I was on top of the world because I know that this is a big deal for this course. And so right before spring break, which was the week before last, we went on a little weekend trip to the beach, my family and I. And right beforehand, I decided to go ahead and take that. Well, it wasn't that I decided. I mean, I had to, in a short period of time, take the midterm exam. And so I took it, feeling very confident. Do you remember when you were in school and you go to take a test and you felt pretty good about something, and then you looked at the test and realized, I'm not ready for this. I didn't study any of this. Yeah. I got a 55 on that test. I sent out a message to the professor. I'm like, I don't know what happened here. And I said, I'll do anything I can to bring the score back up. I've just, I don't know. I felt this big, right? And then he said, well, let me take a look, because sometimes the system doesn't grade it all properly. And he took a look at it, and it went from a 55 to a 70. Okay. Still not great. All right. And okay, well, can I do anything? And then apparently there is a thing in the syllabus, an option in the syllabus that allows you to do another paper on a book, and that's kind of a reflective paper, a reflection paper. And I did that for extra credit. I think it's like 3 points onto your final grade. And so I did that. I haven't turned it in yet. I'm going to turn it in this week, but I want to make sure that I got everything right. I'm going to reread it again and all that stuff. I did my Old Testament paper right after the midterm exam, and I got a 98 on it. So 99, 98. Now, thankfully, the papers are worth, all three of the papers, the New Testament, the Old Testament, and then the Old Testament is one in Isaiah, by the way. But the final paper, all three of those are worth 40% of the grade. So that's quite a lot. And there's some other things, different values. Thankfully, the exam, the midterm, is only worth like 10% of the grade. The midterm and I think the final is worth 10 points. So long story short, I'm looking at that. I'm like, well, apparently as a student, and this is what I think is very true for me right now. And maybe it's my age, maybe it's my personality, maybe it's just who I am and what I'm about. But I'm a lot better writer than I am memorizing a bunch of things and then trying to regurgitate it on a written test. If you give me time to sit there and research a topic and construct sentences properly, it's actually enjoyable. I like that stuff. Now, you may be hearing that, you're like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with that. I like it. I like the research and all the, bringing the citations down and, putting your little footnotes and stuff like that. I enjoy that stuff. I think it's cool. It's fun to learn more, especially in this major, because it's something I'm interested in. I want to know more and more about the Lord. I want to know more and more about context of how the Bible was written and when it was written and who it was written to and all that stuff. So researching and different commentaries and journals, academic journals and all of that stuff. It's fun to me. I learn more. So I can do that. But again, to memorize a bunch of things and then just write it down, apparently I'm not that good at. So I don't know. Hopefully it all balance out. Hopefully it all work out, and we'll see where we're at. But this class is kind of important. So, especially when I'm looking at doing my MDiv, right? So they're going to want to know how this class worked out. It's one of the core subjects. So anyway, pray for me, and I'm praying for you. We'll see how it goes. But I'm excited. I'm still enjoying my experience, and it's been a good one. All right. God bless, and I hope you are working towards your goals and you are doing what God has called you to do. We'll see you on the next vlog. It's hard for me to say vlog. I want to say blog, but I think it's vlog.